to My Mentor Jane, where you can learn the mindset, skills, and habits that lead to a good life. In today's episode, I'm excited to share an exercise you can do to get a quick picture of where you are on your journey and set a course to go further than you ever dreamed possible. You and I are different in so many ways, but I bet we're alike in some very important ways. We long to feel connected, loved, and cared for. We want to feel free and in control, respected. We yearn to be accepted, despite our imperfections. We need to feel fulfilled, to pursue our talents, and to make a difference. And we want to be full of hope and joy. When all these things are in place at the same time, that's when I feel that life is good, when I have the greatest sense of health and wholeness. How about you? Did I miss anything? If I have, just drop me a note in the comments below. I think there's something else we may have in common. No one really explained to me how to do life, how to make all this happen. Connection, freedom, respect, acceptance, fulfillment. How about you? We do our best. We might even enjoy temporary success. Then we stumble, struggle, fail, pick ourselves up, and try again. Setbacks come. People mess with our lives, and we revert back to the same habits and mindsets, doing the best we can. Well, there's another way. I have a new map for you. In a previous video, I explained the 5 paths to a good life. You can check it out after we finish. I've put a link below. As your mentor, I also want to give you a tool, something to help you assess where you are on each of those paths. This is an opportunity to reflect on where life is going well for you and where there may be opportunities for growth. This would be a good time to download the exercise below and follow along with me. Or you can listen in and fill it out later. There are 5 parts to the assessment, and it should take you about 10 to 15 minutes in total to complete it. Now don't worry, this isn't a test. There are no right or wrong answers. The main purpose of this assessment is to highlight in your mind the areas of life and the mindsets and habits that could produce a better life. There's a page for each one of the 5 paths, starting with Reframe My Life. Next is Grieve and Forgive. The 3rd page is Build Right Relationships. Next is Practice Self-Care. And finally, Create the Future. You'll notice on each page is a description of the mindset that's helpful on this path. A mindset is a person's way of seeing and thinking about something. I'm going to cover the different mindsets of each path in future videos, so don't be concerned about that now. For each path, or each part of that assessment, drop down to the list of 10 questions and choose a number for each question that best describes your progress on that path at this point in time. If 1 was minimal progress and 10 was the maximum progress, choose a number to indicate what's true for you now. Forget about what you think you should answer or even what you want it to be. Go with your gut reaction and immediately score each question. After you've scored each of the 10 questions, add the numbers up, divide by 10, and write your average score for that path in the block at the top of the page. Do this for each of the 5 paths. I recommend it's best to do all 5 assessments in one sitting because you're in the same frame of mind. And please, can you try to have some fun with this? Okay, so now you're ready to see the big picture. On the last page, you'll find a circle divided into 5 parts. Take the average score for each one of the paths and put a dot on the line corresponding to that number for that path. Then connect them with a line. It should look something like the example you're seeing here. For example, she gave herself a 4 in Reframe My Life, 2 for Grieve and Forgive, 5 for build right relationships. She gave herself a 6 in practice self-care, and a 3 for create the future. So here's her drawing of the complete assessment. What do you make of it? If you think of the whole circle as a pipe, and your score represents how your life throws through the pipe, how smooth are you flowing through life? In which path is there the greatest capacity to expand? We all have a tendency to focus on one path more than others, or neglect some entirely. You may, for example, do an excellent job at self-care. You eat right, you stay on budget, you're strong emotionally, but you have absolutely no idea what you want for your future. And you're carrying a lot of shame for some of your past mistakes, and they're holding you back. This exercise helps bring this to your attention so you can decide if you want to make any changes and what the direction might be for those changes. Another interesting thing to notice is that all of the paths are connected to one another. For example, if you're doing well in self-care, how is that helping you in your relationships? And if you're stuck in replaying your past over and over, how does that make envisioning a better future more difficult? Now, there are many directions that you can go from here, but here's what I want you to take away from this right now. You're on the journey of life, and like any journey, you have to know where you are so you can plan a route to get to where you want to be. This simple self-assessment exercise gets you started. In future videos, I'll provide lots of help to develop the mindset, skills, and habits that lead to your good life. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and share if this has been valuable. Now, stay tuned for the final word. I have a confession to make. I'm a self-assessment junkie. I've taken just about every personality, leadership, gifting, and motivation test you could find. They satisfy my curiosity to know myself and understand myself better, and they've helped me identify some changes I could make that have ended up improving my life. That's why I developed the 5 paths to a good life assessment. I wanted to provide you with a roadmap that, from my experience and study and research, it can help you on your journey for a whole and healthy life. Self-examination is an important part of living as a follower of Jesus. Jesus said that God cares deeply about even the smallest detail of our life. So why shouldn't we? But our nature is to prefer being in the dark so we can defend ourselves or blame someone else when life takes a bad turn. In some ways, deceiving ourselves about both our strengths and our weaknesses is easier and more comfortable. There is a risk, however, of spending too much time trying to understand ourselves. We can become so inwardly focused that we take our eyes off the one who created us, who knows us inside and out, who has the best plans for us, and who has the ultimate authority over our lives. So we should never make self-improvement our idol. Careful, spirit-directed self-assessment keeps us honest with ourselves and with God. I've learned that whatever I take away from a class, a webinar, a self-assessment, a book, whatever, I ask God in prayer to help me find His truth in it and what He wants me to do with it, if anything. God promised not to keep me in the dark. Here's what Jesus said. The Holy Spirit not only knows what God is thinking, but He lets us in on it. God offers a full report. We don't have to rely on the world's guesses and opinions. Don't you love that? Remember, God knows and cares about you. You are significant in His sight. God even knows the number of hairs that are on your head. And if He knows that much detail about you, He also knows about the worries, cares, and difficulties you face. and He knows about the hopes and dreams deep in your heart. God is inviting you to talk to Him about all of that right now. And that's the final word.